College kids!
College kids!
Hey, college kids! We got your friend! Hey, everybody, what's happening? I hope you all are ready to have a doozy of a day, because we're talking about one of my favorite horror comedies. It's Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I'm Dusty Lane.
I'm Jason Mitchell.
And we are the Cinebytes.
Hello?
I came for you. We have such sights to show you.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains out.
I want to play a game.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was. This is God.
We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
But sometimes that is better.
Once again, welcome back to the program, everybody. I am super excited about this episode, dude. I love this movie.
It's so funny, and I feel like it's well known, but maybe not as much as it needs to be.
No, I don't think that this movie is respected as much as it should be. This is one of the best horror comedies, in my opinion.
It's hilarious, and with me being so into Texas Chainsaw, it's no,
Oh, yeah. There's
it's
references
obvious.
all over this,
yeah,
for sure.
obvious reasons from the title screen.
Yeah, man. Honestly, the pacing is great. The tone is great the whole way through. The juxtaposition between Tucker and Dale and these college kids is so fucking funny to me. Oh my god, it just tickles me in all the right ways. So yeah, Tucker and Dale versus Evil from 2010, directed by Eli Craig. 89-minute runtime, rated R, because we got this is like surprisingly gory.
Oh, and it's really gory.
There's not like a bunch of crazy language. There's very little nudity.
Right.
And the only time you do see it, it's like from afar. So
Right.
Who gives a shit? But, yeah, man, I really like this movie. We are set in the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia.
Virginia.
Or that. There's a bunch of college kids that are going on a trip, right? They're going camping, and they mistakenly think that Tucker and Dale are murderous hillbillies. But these poor dudes are just trying to fix up their vacation home. Leave these guys alone. You sons of bitches. I hate it. So let's run through the characters real quick. First of all, I have to start off. Every time I see this guy, I'm excited. I fucking love Alan Tudyk as, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Tudyk,
I think so.
Tudyk, something like that, Tudyk. But he plays Tucker, and he's just a delight all the time.
He's great.
And Tyler Labine as Dale really matches that, I think. These two are really good together. There's some really good, like touching acting in this movie.
For sure.
It's like...
A lot of it's definitely like slapstick. It's goofy.
Sometimes,
it's funny.
Sure.
But in general, I think some of the acting in this, maybe not from the college kids, but the acting from Tucker and Dale are definitely good, and they draw you into the characters.
Right.
You care about how they're feeling and stuff,
Also, Katrina Bowden as Allison, she's really good as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think Chad is good in this, too. Jesse Moss. He's a little over the top sometimes.
Yeah, but, on purpose.
Right. And
Definitely
I do believe he succeeds in being menacing at certain times. Like,
Right.
he has some really well-delivered lines.
I think so.
Yeah.
His character's just a douche. It's just what he's supposed to be,
To put it mildly. Jeez.
Yeah, because I hate him. I really do.
Another recognizable name to horror fans is Chloe, who was the one running around with his stripper heels and shit.
Right.
But that she was played by Shaylan Simmons, who I believe her first appearance was as the little girl at the beginning of the It miniseries.
Oh, really?
The little girl on the bike that gets got by Pennywise.
Okay.
Yeah, that was her. Which,
Wow.
Thinking about that is weird that hers are the tits that you see in this movie. But, woo! Hey, kid, nice tits. That's me, Pennywise. Anyway, we got Chuck, played by Travis Nelson, Jason, Brandon J. McLaren, Naomi is Christy Lang, Todd is Alex Arsenault, Mitch is Adam Beauchesne, and Mike is Joseph Allen Sutherland. Now, I ran through those pretty quick because that's just sort of the ancillary characters of the friend group.
Right.
Our main focus here is, yes, on one side, Tucker and Dale, and on the other side, Allison and Chad are the main players there. We also have the sheriff, played by Philip Granger. He's a fun...
Yeah, I like his character.
Yeah. I always like to mention the music and cinematography. We got Michael Shields and Andrew Kaiser doing the music on this one, and then David Geddes is the cinematographer.
Okay.
So yeah, the opening of this movie makes us feel, like you said, very Texas Chainsaw, because it's opening on a news report, and we're like walking into this cabin, right? And the cameraman doesn't really want to go in. He's like spooked or whatever, and he's like, don't we need a press pass to be in here? And she's like, press pass this, and fucking gives him the middle finger. But then they don't get very far into this place before they are murdered by a gross burned hillbilly ?
Right. Which, if you've seen this before, like I said, my second watch through, I could kind of tell who this was, but we're going to leave that for now.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You're rushing things, Jason. Stop rushing shit. We'll get there. So after that cold open, it cuts to 3 days prior, where this group of college kids is going on a camping trip in the Appalachian Mountains. It's like the anniversary of what we find out later was the Memorial Day Massacre in the same area. But these mountains look great, dude. It just looks so gorgeous and picturesque, and like, I love mountains.
Yeah, movies are getting really good with showing the landscape and stuff. I feel like a lot of the horror movies, especially at the beginning, will have some big overview shot.
Yeah, it's an establishing shot telling you what we're getting ourselves into in this movie, like nothing but wilderness forever.
Right.
So Tucker and Dale are, it turns out there's a truck that pulls out in front of the college kids. They have to swerve to miss it, and come to find out it's Tucker and Dale, who they all end up at the gas station together. It was called Last Chance Gas, I think it was called. They pull over because they realize they ended up bringing the weed. And in between that and them finding out why they need to stop, Tucker and Dale end up driving past them with these goofy ass looks on their faces.
It's funny because it seems kind of scary, but it's really stupid too. Like he's just looking and his mouth's open, it's just blank.
Well, it's just that common image of like the hillbilly who's kind of dim-witted and everything, but there's evil behind his eyes too, you know? But yeah, it's a doofy expression for sure. But they realize they're talking for a minute in this car, and then all of a sudden Naomi pops up from the back, like, where the fuck she come from? Right. She's like, guys, we forgot the beer, and they all scream, no!
Yeah, so they all stop at this gas station too.
Last
and we say gas station, and we're not talking like Speedway, you know. This is it reminds me of Texas Chainsaw, you know. There's like 2 pumps, it's super old, the place doesn't have any paint on it, you know.
My note on here is literally Texas Chainsaw gas station, complete with hillbilly kid in overalls pumping water outside.
Right.
I'm pretty sure everyone in this movie who's not a college kid has some sort of strap over their shoulder at some point, whether it's overalls or fucking suspenders or some shit. It's crazy. But when the college kids go in to get the beer, Tucker's at the counter buying a bunch of shit. He runs through the list as Allison and Chad are walking through the store, and he's like, all right, hacksaw, baling hooks, 3/4-inch nails, scythe, clamps, handsaw, condoms, he says.
Yeah, if you pay attention to the list, it sounds like he's getting tools and stuff, but at one point he says something about like feminine pads. Like, what the hell? Does he? Yeah, like, what the hell do they need pads for?
I don't know. Seems like he knows what he's doing. Then leave him alone. But yeah, it sounds like this long list of like scary shit that he's getting. Hacksaw.
Torture.
There's a fucking brush clearing scythe.
Right.
Like all of this shit is, you know, the college kids overhearing like, oh fuck, what's this dude? Allison ends up asking like if they need more bug spray or something, and she fucking takes a can off the shelf, revealing Dale's face on the other side.
He's staring at her.
Yeah.
So it's funny how they're showing both sides. Like, we see Dale and Tucker talking a little bit, and then we see the view from the college kids. So we're seeing the scary point of view, and then the doofy, dumb, slow, like Tucker and Dale are not bad people kind of thing, you know. So it's,
we kind of get two sets of characters in them that way.
right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
cool. Shaylin Simmons runs inside. Chloe, I should call her. That's her character's name. She wants to leave. Dale ends up, when he gets spotted by Allison, he's like, oh, shit, I'm looking over here. And he grabs a jar of pickled eggs off the fucking shelf.
Yeah.
Gross.
Tucker says, Dale, is there anything else we need? He said, pickled eggs, 5-pound jar.
5-pounder. Holy shit. First of all, have you ever eaten a pickled egg?
No, and
You don't want to.
I don't think so. I don't want to mix the two. I like eggs. I
No,
like pickles. But that sounds,
I hate egg
that
pickles.
sounds horrific to me.
It really does. The thing that is most fucked up about them to me is the consistency. They get extremely rubbery.
Oh, gross.
And it is just no good. And it's cold. Oh, God.
I would imagine they got a stank to them, right?
There's
Like,
definitely a
you-
stank. It's
you-
fucking vinegar and eggs,
right?
man.
Like, you don't want to be eating those on the way to meet your girlfriend or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, God. I couldn't imagine.
how do they never go bad?
I don't know. Something about the vinegar solution that, like, I don't know. Not subject to the laws of decay of nature or whatever. So Dale's eating his pickled eggs, and he's like staring over at these college kids, particularly at Allison, who he thinks is purty. And Tucker's like, just go talk to him. And you're like, you are a good-looking man, more or less. You got a damn good heart, and that's two things right there. So he's like, he tells him just smile and laugh. It shows confidence. And then fucking Dale, I don't know why, chooses to walk up to these people holding the fucking scythe.
Oh yeah, and it's huge. The blade's
It's like a foot taller than him.
The blade's like 4 foot long or something crazy, you know.
Yeah, and he walks up and he's like, yeah, y'all gonna kill him? Like, he's so nervous, and like I feel bad for him because like, dude, I've been there, dude. I get it. He's like, he's just trying to put his best foot forward so hard that he trips over it and falls down.
Right.
You know?
Sure.
So poor fucking Dale. They freak out, and then Chad ends up jumping in front of him and doing some fucking karate moves to get him away.
Yeah, he's like, hey, it's cool, man. We don't want any trouble.
So he fends him off with his karate, and Dale is dejected, and he walks back to Tucker, and he's like, see, I'm a 0 with the ladies. They hate my face. They're back in the truck, and Tucker tells him, hey, man, you know what your problem is? You have an inferiority complex. You need to go after what you want because it's not going to fall in your lap. And then he immediately drops his beer in his lap.
Right.
Which fucking road pops, huh? Okay.
Yeah, the whole
They're
movie
in the
kind
mountains,
of, yeah.
But there is a fucking cop here. This is where we meet the sheriff. He pulls him over, and because he dropped his beer, Dale reaches over trying to clean it up before the cop, gets there. And something happens where he gets his fucking shirt stuck or whatever, and he's like leaning over Tucker like he's giving him roadhead.
Right.
And then when he pulls back, he fucking like somehow loses his shirt.
His shirt's like stuck in a belt buckle or something, and rips his shirt off.
Yeah. Afternoon, officer.
Yeah, so when the cop comes up, it looks like they were just fooling around,
Which is funny too, because Tucker says something about like, oh yeah, we're going up to our vacation home up by Morris Lake. Old Dale here's been striking out with the ladies. Figured maybe a little man time might do him some good.
Yeah.
Sheriff's like, you guys are fucking up. There's nothing but pain and suffering up in them their mountains.
Yeah, what? Aren't you supposed to be protecting and serving? Like, what the hell,
Right.
man?
Alan Tudyk is so great, man. And this cabin that they finally end up at is extremely Evil Dead.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like a carbon copy of the Evil Dead cabin.
Well, there's cars, old cars on the driveway, so damn well. Like, my first thought was like, oh, those are old victims and stuff,
Right.
For
Which,
sure.
I mean, who knows? Could have been, because when they go in, they do find a bunch of crazy shit in there. There's like, when they walk in, there's like bones hanging up that Tucker sees. He's like, oh, the guy that lived here before must have been an archaeologist or something. Feels like yeah. And then he says he must have been a news junkie too, because there's all these fucking articles clipped out on all over the walls about teens slain. There's murder stuff. And then a chili dog coupon. Yeah. With no expiration date, apparently.
Buy 3, get 2 free Chubby's chili dogs.
Okay, jackpot.
Chubby's chili dog depot.
Dale's having a great day. He sees his favorite board game on a stack of board games. And then at some point, Tucker ends up leaning on a post in the middle of the room that ends up falling down, and he comes damn near dying.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's when that board swings down with the fucking nail sticking out of it. And here's my question, because it does end up circling back. We see this. This is basically the Chekhov's gun setting this up for later.
Right.
But the thing is, if you saw that thing swing down, why are you not taking it off?
Just prop it back up, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, prop it back up, but at least remove the fucking nails from that thing.
Right.
Good Lord. So the college kids are back at the campsite sitting around a fire, and Jason, ironically, starts saying something about like, oh, hey, you guys, just been wondering, asking for a friend. If you have a dream that you're sucking dick, but you never actually suck a dick, are you gay? I'm like, I don't know. Are you worried about it?
Right.
But we're just getting out of that 2000s. We're in 2010 right here, so we're at the tail end of all that shit. So got to throw in a couple more for the fucking road, I guess. But Chad starts telling the story of the Memorial Day Massacre, right? The music changes to... They're like listening. There's a flashback, and it's shot really cool because it's in like a sepia tone, sepia, however you fucking say it. I always say sepia, but that looks really cool. And they're partying, dancing to some like
it's like 90s music.
Yeah.
You can't really explain it. It's just 90s music.
It is very 90s dance music, yeah.
Right.
But then some dude runs up and fucking changes their cassette tape.
Right.
And he throws in some fucking bluegrass, kind of bluegrass, kind of gospel,
right,
a little bit.
And it's they were aiming for hillbilly music, I guess. Right?
Oh yeah, and it absolutely is. He's like, I'm gonna meet my maker. All right, fucking a little on the nose, but whatever. I love that this dude like goes to scratch his neck with the saw blade he's holding,
right,
and like digs into his neck.
Yeah,
leaves a couple deep bleeding scratches.
Right. There's some good kills right here, actually.
Oh yeah,
this flashback.
That's what I was. Yeah, after he gets done scratching his neck with this thing, the dude is like, he sees he has the saw blade, and he's like, oh no, this is cool. I like this. And dude just whips this fucking saw blade like a shuriken right into this guy's fucking face.
Right. Sick, dude.
Splits him down the middle, basically.
Hell yeah.
I think there's another lady that gets a fucking machete in the throat.
Yep.
What else did you see? There had to have been a few more, right?
I almost thought there was like some homage to Friday the 13th here.
Oh, there definitely was.
Yeah, there was a guy with a bag on his head.
Yeah.
That's definitely... Shout out to part 1 right there, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Part 2, you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So apparently in this incident, one person lived, and we'll find out who that was later. They just set up the story at this point.
Right.
But we can't continue because it's time for some skinny dipping. Who wants to go skinny dipping? And in this same body of water, of course, we got Tucker and Dale fishing over there.
Yeah, night fishing. Mm-hmm. Night drinking.
Tucker and Dale going fishing in the dark. Dale goes to grab the last beer out of the cooler, and it was just after they get done having a conversation about him standing up for himself.
Right.
And fucking Tucker slaps his hand. He's like, but you just said, well, yeah, I said don't even think about it was the last thing I said. So.
Right.
That was pretty great. The comedy in this movie is just, it's a lot of one-liners one after the other, so it's really, really fast-paced.
Yeah.
it was hard to keep up. Luckily I watched these movies twice. So again, the first time, all I'm doing is writing. Like I'm barely looking at the screen. This is where we end up getting Chad like creepily hitting on Allison.
Oh yeah, he's a douchebag.
Yeah.
There's really nothing else to it.
I mean, textbook definition of douchebag. Yes.
Yeah, he's saying a bunch of weird. He's trying to convince her to hook up with him, essentially.
Basically, yeah. It's all pretty fucking surface level. Like we know what you're getting at, buddy.
Right.
I do like the shot just before this where there's like a foggy shot of the woods and like what looks like an axe drops down, turns out to be a hatchet because he sneaks up behind her and like taps on the window behind her of the truck with the hatchet and scares her. So anyway, and he's like coming on to her really strong. He's like, we're cut from a different cloth, Allison. We are better than everybody else, kind of a thing. Like, oh boy.
Yeah, Jesus.
We go back to the kids skinny dipping, and Dale's like, I don't think they want to see us right now, Tucker. He's like, well, I kind of want to see them.
Right.
Why is it, though, that when Allison starts undressing, she climbs up onto a bunch of fucking rocks? Like, first of all, you're going to have to climb back up there to get your fucking clothes after you're done.
Right.
This is a terrible idea. Terrible idea.
Might as well get up front and center,
Well, take them off on the fucking... Because even if you do get them off the rock, then what? You're going to swim back with...
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, none of it really made sense.
It's ridiculous. Take them off before you go in. Whatever. So basically, Dale is freaking out because she's undressing and he's shy and he wants to like get Tucker to stop looking. So he yells at him. He's like, Tucker! When Allison hears him say Tucker, she turns and fucking loses her footing, falls off the rock and whacks the shit out of her head on a rock.
Goes under the water and
goes
come
under
back
the water
up either. Yeah.
Right. And Tucker goes, hey, when you see a college girl prancing around half naked in front of you, you do not yell out my name.
Right.
Then they notice she's not coming back up. So, here we go. Dale jumps in after her.
Right.
Shining knight. He rescues her, gets her back up onto the boat, and this is when Chloe sees it going down, and she's like freaking out immediately, of course.
Well, yeah, from their point of view, it looks like they're taking their friend,
Right.
when in reality they're trying to save the day.
Which is so funny when he starts yelling over at her because he's like, Hey, we got your friend!
Yeah, because she's yelling too, like, oh my God, they got Allison.
Right. Yeah, she's hearing, we got your friend. We're
Right.
coming to get you next or whatever. But yeah, they start running away, freaking out. Like, there's like 8 of them.
Right.
Why don't they just...
Instead of going after her immediately,
Right.
they're going to, run back and, yeah.
The fuck are you guys? You got to go get Chad, Big Daddy Chatty? Okay. Sure thing. But, Tucker's like yelling back over to him. He's like, hey, we got you. Why the hell are they running away? Come back and get your friend.
Right.
Oh, so good. She goes, yeah, they got Allison. They all run away. And they go to get Chad, and he brings his hatchet. And by the time they get there, they're like yelling out across the water at him. Like, you guys could have turned around at this point. You guaranteed fucking heard him.
Right.
There's nothing else happening. It's the middle of the night. He's fucking screaming, and you're not even that far.
Instead, it looks like they're sailing off into the night.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like foggy.
Right.
And...
This whole predicament could have been over right now. But they end up going back to the cabin. The kids go back to the campsite. Allison wakes up in the cabin to fucking Jangers hanging out. Dale's dog.
It looks all scary.
Mm-hmm. Did he have one eye, or did he have like different colored eyes? Because one of them was really light, right?
I don't recall.
Old Jangers. Jangers is a good boy. Dale comes in with pancakes, and Allison freaks the fuck out, thinking that he's coming after her to do something.
Yeah, she's yelling, "Please don't, please don't!" And he totally misconstrues the whole thing because he's bringing her breakfast, being a nice guy. He's, oh, you don't like pancakes? I'm sorry. I'll cook something else. You know.
Yeah. And I love it when he comes back in with the other thing he cooks because
he's got bacon and eggs.
He brings it in. He's like, "Don't tell him you hate eggs and bacon." And he's also got flowers that he picked in a fucking tin like soup can or something. Fucking Dale. He's such a sweetheart.
Yeah. So the college kids, I guess, essentially regroup, find the cabin. And it's foggy as hell. It just looks like a horror movie. It's so damn funny, you know?
Yeah. When they're trying to explain the situation, they're like trying to get a handle on what it was that everybody saw.
Right.
And Chuck was like, he says one of the guys looked like he might have been eating her face off. Like,
right.
What the fuck? Where did you get that? But Chad says no police, which you're like, what the fuck, dude? What do you mean? Why not?
Right.
But we get the answer to why not soon enough, I guess. But then Chuck ends up running off to get him anyway, which pisses off Chloe. She's like, why the fuck does he get to go?
Yeah, he leaves in his dad's truck.
Which she very easily could have gone with him at this point. Nobody
Right.
would have tried to stop her. It would have been fine. And then she could stop running around the woods with her stripper shoes. It would have been a win-win.
Right.
But yeah, the kids do find the cabin, and the one guy, Mitchell, I think his name is like, whatever, it's probably not even that bad. Maybe I'll go and talk to them. And everybody looks at him, and he's like, I said maybe.
Right.
This is where Dale comes back in with new breakfast. And he goes, Tucker and I brung you here. And he tells her the heroic tale of him, you know, with wanton disregard to his own safety, dives in after her and
Right.
puts her out on the boat. He's like, I rescued you. He's like, I didn't see anything when you were undressing. Tucker might have seen a little bit, but I didn't see anything.
Right. We're just out fishing, not watching.
Turns out that he ends up giving her clothes and like dressing her, and he says something about like never having much fashion sense. She's like, yeah, me neither, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Mentions Jangers as a big old marshmallow, even though he looks intimidating. She asks him his name, and he fucking stumbles over that. Finally gets Dale out, and she tells him her name is Allison, but my friends call me Allie. And he was like, oh, well, it's good to meet you, Allie, son.
Yeah, super awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Super nervous.
He's cute. She asks if there's anything to do around here, and he's like, do you like board games? And she's like, yeah. And he was walking around the room prior to this, like picking up beer cans and shit.
Right,
and he
cleaning
fucking
up.
throws everything down immediately and goes over to grab Trivia Up, his favorite game.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And before they start to play, we do cut back out to the college kids out front. They're doing rock, paper, scissors, seeing who's going to walk up to the cabin.
Right, yeah, who's the sucker that's got to go up and
Yeah.
deal with these hillbillies.
Apparently Mitch keeps losing because like after he loses again, he's like, all right, 4 out of 7.
Right.
But he does in fact lose. Chad's like, fucking walk, bitch, and whatever. And while he's walking up to the cabin, Tucker is out back with the fucking chainsaw, getting ready to chop up some wood, saws directly into a bee's nest. And I think I just about shit myself the first time that I saw this movie. Oh my God, I couldn't get enough of it. Rewound it like 6 times.
Right.
Fuck, man. He's trying to get away from the bees. And as Mitch is walking up to the front of the cabin, he's running around the back with the chainsaw, waving it around his head, looking like fucking Leatherface,
Right.
looking all creepy, running directly at Mitch. And he freaks the fuck out. Everybody scatters.
Right.
And fucking, it does look, from their perspective, like Tucker is chasing him down with the chainsaw.
With an old ass chainsaw.
Yeah, and it's smoking and stuff. So
Yeah.
I was thinking him waving it like this. Is he trying to deter the bees? Because that's like put him to sleep with smoke, right?
Right, yeah.
That's a thing.
So, yeah, he comes around that house so damn fast, and he's doing the little Leatherface dance from the end of the first movie. He's swinging it to the left and to the right. It's above his head. It looks so damn ridiculous.
Yeah, swiping at bees.
All right.
With a fucking chainsaw. They end up running right next to each other, Tucker and Mitch, and they like share a look.
Yeah, they lock eyes.
They do, and like Tucker looks over at him like, "What? Who the fuck? What are you doing here?"
Right.
And then that's when the dude fucking ends up running himself through with a fucking sharp ass, just a branch that's just poking up at the precisely wrong point.
Yeah, gored. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Brutal kill.
And one of the bees ends up coming up and landing on his nose.
Right.
But it doesn't sting him, dude. I was disappointed.
Right.
I wanted there to be like insult to injury. And just give him one sting before he drifts off.
Right.
You know? Didn't happen, whatever.
Yeah, that kill is crazy, and I feel like it's a pretty good way to really start the movie off, kind of, too.
It's definitely like an oh shit moment.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Like, all right, we're getting into it.
Right.
Like, you don't expect... The last a couple episodes have been me talking about something having to do with meat hanging off of something.
Right.
This fucking branch has meat hanging off of it once again, and you're like, oh, okay. This is what we have to look forward to.
Yeah, there's some good killing going on underneath all of this laughter.
Mm-hmm. We go back to Dale and Allison in the cabin, and he's beating the shit out of her through this board game. He's not he's not beating her. But he's like, well, it's just my stupid brain. I got this thing where like I'm dumb as a skunk, but I remember everything I ever heard. Like that's like the definition of it's not dumb, right? Maybe he's not so much on the common sense or street smarts, whatever. Allison mentions like that actually sounds really smart to me, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. She mentions that there's a difference between education and intellect, and I'm like, you goddamn right, Allison, you go, girl. Preach.
Hell yeah.
But she has a bachelor's in psychology. She said she always wanted to be a therapist, but her parents said that was stupid, and it was a stupid dream to pursue, and he's trying to reassure her, like, no, dreams aren't stupid. You got to go after it, you know. Just more endearing shit from Dale. He's a big old teddy bear.
Yeah, for sure.
She mentioned something about most problems in the world are due to a lack of communication, which is really fucking ironic because that's the whole premise of this movie.
Right.
Nobody's communicating, so everybody's got the wrong idea. But is it... Oh, she tries to lean back in her chair at some point. And Dale's like, oh shit, don't do that. We got a rickety beam. You might get a fucking nail board in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't it come swinging down too?
Not at that point. Not because
here.
She stops.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tucker ends up coming in from his fucking adventures with the bees and the college kids. And he tells Dale that he saw it into a bee's nest. And Dale's like, why'd you do that?
Why would you do that?
But he feels bad. He's like, all right, let me pull them stingers out of your face and help you do some stuff around here. And I like Tucker's reaction to that. He's like, I like that.
Yeah.
He mentions, Tucker mentions to Allison, oh, hey, I saw your friend out there, but he must be allergic to bees or something because he was running like a bat out of hell.
Yeah.
But luckily, Tucker and Dale are on the case, and Dale's like, right, Tuck? And fucking Tucker's like, yeah.
Yeah, he's not looking forward to it.
He's less than enthused.
Right.
Dale mentions that Tucker's a real people person, and it cuts over to his face just looking dead as fuck. We go back to the college kids, and we see Mitch on the fucking branch again. And the kids are standing around him, and Chad's like, they left his body here as a message.
Yeah, they killed him, man.
He says something about survival of the fittest, and then that's when Tucker and Dale come walking up because they're, looking for them, trying to let them know.
Right.
And they're hiding right there next to him, which is stupid, but as they're walking up, he was like, oh, you should have seen me, Tucker. Smart college girl like that, and I was beating the crap out of her.
Right, talking about the game.
Yeah.
the board game.
Yeah, that's not what they're hearing, though. But he goes, you beat the crap out of everybody. There's something wrong with your brain.
Yeah.
Wrong idea, once again. But he mentions, like, oh, yeah, when we get back, I'll finish her off real quick, and then I'll
Yeah.
get back to helping you.
All the context is wrong, and it's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. This script is perfectly written.
Right.
The framing of everything is done really well. They start yelling for the college kids, and Tucker's voice in this is really fucking funny because he's like all swollen from the bees.
He's got like a dip in or something.
He
too,
always
the
has a
whole
dip in.
movie, so yeah, his
Yep.
voice is kind of college kids, you know.
They say something about leaving a note for them so that if they stumble across it, they'll be like, all right, they'll see this and they'll come get her.
Right.
And he fucking writes, "We got your friend" in a log, but he spells it wrong.
Well, and he uses a hatchet. You know, it's like,
Right. Yeah, carving it in with it.
I don't know. I got this piece of wood over here.
Yeah, that'll work. Tucker says his face is as hot as a hemorrhoid.
Yeah.
We cut to a little bit later, and Dale's outside digging, and Allison comes out asking what he's digging, and he's like, "Oh, I'm digging a shithole,
Shitter hole.
a crap hole, a hole for the shit house, crap house,
Right.
outhouse."
So awkward and funny.
But then she's like, "Well, guess what, motherfucker? It's your lucky day. I grew up on a farm. Give me that pick, and let's get this shit done."
Yeah, she starts helping.
Yeah, dude, well, not only does she start helping, she takes over the fucking project.
Right.
And she's just going to town and looks back up at Dale, and he's just standing there just like in awe over her.
Right.
She's like, "I grew up on a farm. Are you going to fucking help me or just stare at me all day?" And he's like, "Yeah, let me grab something here." That's a really funny reaction. But the kids come up again and they see her digging. And he's like, "Oh man, that's fucked up. He's making her dig her own grave." Which is when Chad fucking, jumps into action and he makes a plan. This one kid runs up with a fucking spear, coming at Dale. And Allison tries to save him, but when the dude gets his attention, he turns and is holding the shovel over his shoulder. Mm-hmm. So when he turns, the shovel turns with him and whacks Allison in the head again.
It knocks her out.
Yeah, and it hits her on the other side of the head.
Right.
Knocks her out. She falls in the hole. He falls in the hole. The other guy falls on top of him in the hole, but the fucking spear falls first.
Right.
Lands directly next to Dale, and then fucking, just like Mitch, he fucking lands on this like spear, like makeshift spear, and fucking dies literally on top of Dale.
Right. How frustrating.
Oh my God, that's a rather mild word to use for this. Yeah, so this is all fucking going crazy. The other kid, oh my God.
Oh, so he runs towards Tucker, which is in the middle of using the wood chipper.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to clean up the yard, whatever,
Woody.
and comes and tries to jump onto Tucker and goes over him and into the wood chipper.
Yep.
Head first.
Just dives like an Olympian head first. And it's such a fucking funny shot. After he dives in, Tucker grabs his legs and he's like trying to pull him out, but
right.
like them looking at him, he's like fucking shoving him into the wood chipper. Oh my God. And immediately after he's like, "Are you okay?"
Right. Whole upper half of his body's gone.
Yeah, no, he's probably fine. That's cool. If this was an Evil Dead movie.
Right.
So when this dude goes into the wood chipper, dude, Chloe gets fucking just drenched in blood. Oh my God.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Obviously at this point, Tucker and Dale are both freaking the fuck out. Tucker's like, "All right, get a hold of yourself. I think I know what this is."
Yeah, it's a suicide pact.
Right. And then I'm like, what the fuck? Why would it be that? Why would it be that? And Dale, on the other hand, is like, "That makes so much sense."
Right. Trying to kill Allison too.
He's like, "I think they want her dead." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "I don't know." "Well, it's good that you don't know. It's good that I don't know." Dale says they should go to the police, but Tucker's like, "And fucking tell them what,
right.
man?"
Right.
Like, there is no way anyone is going to buy this fucking story.
You'd have to be a moron to believe that. That's what he says.
Right. Well, he says, "Tell him what?" And he's like, "Well, just tell him what happened." He's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." We just walk up and we're like, "Well, hello, Sheriff. We've had a doozy of a day. Kids started killing themselves all over my property."
Yeah.
He's like, "It doesn't matter what actually happened. It matters what looked like what happened. And what looks like what happened looks pretty nasty.
Right. I think your Tucker's pretty good.
Thanks, man. Dude, I love Alan Tudyk so much. He's my favorite character, I think, in Dodgeball as well. Although my favorite line is about him because he's Steve the Pirate, right? And fucking Vince Vaughn ends up saying something to Ben Stiller about, first of all, he is way more of a pirate than you will ever be. Which, good one.
Nice.
Fucking bazinga. But Tucker's plan here is they got to clean up, right? Cover all your tracks, make sure we get all this shit, because like if anybody comes, it's just not. I understand that thread of logic in movies sometimes where they do have clarity of like, who in the fuck is going to believe what actually happened? So you'd rather just wash your hands of the whole thing so you don't have to deal with any of it at all, except the memories. And the multiple showers.
Oh, the memories.
Chloe's freaking out back with the college kids because she just got covered in fucking blood. And so is it Jason that's like, oh, hey, smoking isn't good for you? She's like, neither is dying, but that doesn't seem to be stopping anyone.
Right, yeah.
Someone says maybe we should walk from here. And of course, it's her again that mentions, you want to walk 40 miles?
Yeah.
You have any fucking idea how long that would take? Plus, she's got the most impractical shoes.
Stripper shoes.
Mm-hmm. But they, decide they got to work together. Naomi blames Chad. She says it was his idea. And Chad's like, what's the big deal? Like a few little tiny murders.
Right.
And everyone freaks out. Like, those were your fucking friends, dude.
Yeah. No, Chad's an idiot,
and he's fucking losing it also.
He's got this whole, it's us against them, maybe you deserve to die,
He gets more amped up the longer the movie goes. He's like, do you know how lucky you all are?
Right.
How many people get a chance for this? It's us against them. And if you don't like that, then maybe you deserve to die. Like, God damn.
Yeah, what a lunatic. You're just out camping, huh? That's how you deal with it.
I guess. Is he just like, is this his fucking, what was the thing did you see Prey? That came out a year or two ago?
I don't think so.
No, there's like some sort of, I can't remember what they call it, but it's basically like a coming of age thing. Is that what he's got in his mind here?
Oh, maybe.
Like he's proving himself or whatever.
Right.
So turns out Chuck succeeded in getting the police, and he's riding back with the sheriff. And then Chloe runs out in front of the cop car all of a sudden. Manages to stop him, luckily. And then the kids all get in the back of the cop car, except Chad, of course, who doesn't want anything to do with the police. So fucking funny when we actually do see the sheriff drive up, because Tucker and Dale each have a leg of this fucking body, and they're dragging it from the wood chipper.
Once again, looks terrible.
Yeah. Oh, and before he gets there, they go to pull it out of the wood chipper, and it fucking lands on Dale again.
And then Tucker grabs it and pulls it up over his face.
Drags
like the
it over
guts.
his face, man. Oh, what the fuck? So when the sheriff drives up, they're like dragging this dude, all over again. They each have a leg, and Tucker says something about it was heavy for a half a guy, and that's when the sheriff pulls up.
Right.
And he drops the leg, Tucker does, but Dale keeps holding his.
Yeah.
And this is where we get the doozy of a day speech. Mentions like, we were scared shitless. And the sheriff's not fucking buying any of it. Of course, why would he?
Yeah, there's a girl inside unconscious.
Yeah, he's like, Dale goes, I think they might be trying to kill that girl we have inside. And the whole time Tucker's shaking his head like, don't say that. Oh, Jesus.
Right.
Oh, fuck. Like, not painting a good picture here. He was like, well, maybe she could explain it if I hadn't knocked her unconscious with a shovel.
Right.
He's like, on accident.
On accident.
Yeah.
This is all incriminating things.
But he mentioned she's in his bedroom and everything. And it's like, dude, you are saying nothing right.
Yeah, she's inside. She's in my bedroom.
But, like, Tucker is trying so fucking hard to keep it together in this scene, dude. The faces he's making as Dale is saying each new shitty thing.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Such good face acting.
Gold.
Oh my God. So the cop ends up going inside to check the situation, and the kids in the car freak out, like, why didn't he just fucking arrest him?
Right.
But he goes in to talk to him, and, you know, they have a whole conversation. He looks at Allison. She's like, well, her pupils are dilated. She's breathing. Everything looks to be okay. But Tucker mentions something about, like, oh, do we look like a couple of psycho killers in their fucking faces when he says that? Yes, they do. But the sheriff's like, well, that depends. Looks can be deceiving. And that is when we get the fucking nail board back.
Yeah, he just leans on that pole.
Oh, God.
And Tucker yells at him too, right?
He tries to stop him just
don't
before.
lean on that pole.
Right. But it comes down, goes directly into this fucking cop's head, and then detaches from the other beam, and then he comes fucking stumbling out of the cabin, and the kids all see it like, oh, fuck!
How's he walking right now, Tuck?
Yeah. He fucking says, you okay again? Tucker's like, yeah, he's fine. It looks like he's gonna walk it off. It's gonna be fine.
Right.
The sheriff like stumbles over to the car, and he fucking tries to put in a call on the radio, but he's just like,
Yeah.
and it just fucking falls. Oh my God, and he's dead. Chloe freaks out. Oh my God, they fucking killed him. Whatever. Chuck ends up picking up his gun, like taking it out of his holster.
Right.
And he fucking points it at Dale, and he tries to shoot him, but nothing's happening. And then, God damn it, Dale.
Take the safety off.
But luckily, this dude has zero idea what he's doing with a gun, and he fucking ends up shooting himself in the face after he does take the safety off. And Chad picks up the gun and starts firing up at the cabin, and Tucker's like, what the fuck, Dale? Take the safety off?
Yeah, why would you say that?
It was very young Frankenstein. Sedative?
Right.
Tucker's like, I'm blaming this whole fucking thing on you. This is shitty. Dale mentions, I don't even like fishing. Maybe this whole thing that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't gone fishing.
Yo, and oh man, Tucker's hurt.
Yeah, he looks so fucking...
You don't like fishing?
Well, how many times have they gone fishing up to this point, you know?
Right.
Like, and it turns out Dale was just doing it because he loves his friend.
Right.
You know?
Sorry, Tucker.
But this is where we find out that poor Jangers is outside, and Chad has him at gunpoint.
Oh yeah, what a dick.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna shoot this
move.
guy's dog? Like, I mean, I guess he's trying to draw him out, but fuck. Tucker ends up grabbing a nail gun. I fucking hate this trope in horror movies because, okay, it makes for a fun scene, I guess. This is just not how nail guns work.
Right.
You have to. You can't shoot something across the room with a nail gun. Right. You have to both be pulling the trigger, and then there's a little pressure thing on the end. You have to push it into something for the nail to come out. So
right.
Don't believe the hype, kids. Then again, I guess I just told the kids how to use a nail gun. So maybe I'll cut that.
So this is awesome, though, because Tucker tells Dale to shoot the nail gun at the kids to distract them so he can go get Jangers.
Right.
Dale, obviously, you know, you're talking about your dog. He gets caught up in the moment, and he's just going crazy. Mm-hmm. He's shooting that gun, and
he goes all Rambo for a second.
Yeah. And Tucker yells, Jesus, Dale, take it easy.
Oh, yeah. That was good. He almost ends up shooting Tucker at one point, I think, because he's just fucking blindly firing all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And he mentions something about this whole time Tucker's trying to sneak out to get Jangers, and like Dale's yelling out the window as he's shooting. He's like, "Oh, you hurt my dog! I swear to God, I'm gonna get really mad." Yeah. So many great lines in this movie. Good Lord. But Tucker succeeds in letting Jangers loose. However, draws attention to himself at the same time, and now the kids have turned their attention to him.
Right.
Chloe is like running behind everybody, slow as shit, obviously, but Tucker's like, it's a beautiful day for a run, isn't it? So he hauls ass out of there, ends up falling in a puddle, and I like when he does that. He ends up climbing over a log and laying on the other side of it, which is a decent spot if you get lucky enough for them to not, look behind or whatever once they pass it.
Right.
And he also covers himself with, some leaves and some dirt and stuff. So he's a man of the land,
Absolutely.
Chad ends up finding him anyway, unfortunately, and he knocks him out. Which is where we cut to him swinging from a tree upside down.
Right. I like when he's haggling here with Chad, because they don't realize what they think, and he says, "Oh, I got 10 or 12 beers,
with your name on them."
Right.
They're on ice right now, buddy.
I think here is when he doesn't he chop Tucker's hand off too?
Yeah, dude. Well, this whole exchange is insane because he's like, first of all, he's like, "What the hell is wrong with you kids?" And there's a couple different times in the movie that this happens. Somebody asks Chad and a group like, "What's wrong with you?" And his response is, "What's wrong with me?"
Right.
That what is wrong with you? You fucking
crazy.
lunatic. But he leans in real close to Tucker and he's like, "I've never stood this close to pure evil before." Payback time, hillbilly. And he chops off a couple of his fingers with the hatchet. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. I know there's a really good blood spray on this one too.
We don't actually see what gets cut off at this point though. So we know that he cuts something.
Right.
Easy enough to assume what it is. Allison wakes up again with another thing on her head covering a wound, this time on the other side. And it's time for Dale to catch her up, basically. And he's like, "Your friends just decided to go nuts all at the same time. This is crazy." And he's losing it. He's crying and shit.
Yeah, so awful.
Right. But Allison ends up coming outside to clear the air with everybody. But she sees the aftermath of fucking the sheriff laying dead on the ground. Chuck laying dead on the ground after he shot himself. Just chaos, nails everywhere. Fucking shit has gone off the rails.
I like the funniest thing to me about this part was, like you said, we didn't know what they had cut off. And when Allison goes outside, there's that little piece of t-shirt.
Yep.
And you're like, what the hell is going to be in there? And of course, it ends up being some of Tucker's fingers. But Dale says something about, "Oh, those are his bowling fingers."
Like, how well do you know your buddy's fingers, man? They find the fingers and a note. And basically, the note is short and sweet. "Now we got your friend." They spell it correctly. And I think they capitalize "your" because I believe when Dale writes it, he just writes "you are."
Right.
You're.
Right.
But they're like correcting him, get a little zing, insult to injury. But yeah, they're like, "Now we got your friend, try and get him."
Right.
Allison ends up explaining that they misjudged Tucker and Dale, but like she's apologizing to Dale in this scene, but Dale's like, "Well, no, I should have known that if a guy like me ever talked to a girl like you, somebody'd end up dead."
Right. And I think that's how he really feels too.
Probably, yeah. I mean, his experience has taught him nothing else, right? I don't know. So Dale goes off to find Tucker. He finds the kid impaled on the tree. He finds Tucker hanging in the other tree. Allison ended up staying back at the cabin, importantly.
Right.
But fucking as soon as Dale walks up to Tucker, he's like, "It's a trap."
It's a trap, watch out.
That whole thing.
Yeah, stick comes down.
Not just a stick. They fucking have fashioned yet another spear.
Right. And goes through Dale's pants.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of classes these motherfuckers took, but they are really good at setting traps.
Right.
How in the hell did they rig this up for this fucking... It's a heavy-ass spear. It's not a stick. It's a spear that fucking comes out of the trees from somewhere and lands like a quarter inch under his dick.
Right. You say, "I'm glad I'm not hung like a bear."
Yeah. Never thought I'd say this. But yeah, it does go through his pants. There's like a hole in his pants.
Yeah, it's like through the front side, out of the back. It's stuck in the ground.
Yeah. And then Dale ends up cutting Tucker down way too abruptly. First of all, like, have some consideration, dude. Hold your friend so his head doesn't fucking bash on the ground or he breaks his neck or any other fucking 1,000 things that could happen. But as soon as he falls, he's like, this vacation sucks.
Yeah. This kid has got some serious issues.
The kids end up, well, the kids, by the kids, I mean, of course, Chad and Naomi, end up breaking into the cabin, and he opens, like, before they go in, he says something about, like, this is where evil lives or something. And they walk in, and they're, like, whispering over at Allison, like, hey, we're here to save you. She's like, why are you whispering? There's no one else here. And they're like, oh, okay. So anyway, Chad's immediately like, we have to burn this place down.
Yeah.
And Allison's like, well, no, fuck that. These are good dudes. Like, this whole thing has been a huge misunderstanding. Like she mentioned earlier, another of the world's problems, you know, being exacerbated by a lack of communication. And she tries to, like, sit everybody down, or her idea is to sit everybody down for a little powwow, you know, and get through it.
Which was what she was talking about early on. She wanted to be like a therapist or whatever. So it's all kind of, you know, she's getting to do that now.
Right.
And this is all funny too, because Dale is being all supportive and Chad's being Chad. You know?
Right. Chad's going Chad.
Oh yeah.
So she stops him from throwing gas all over the fucking place. And Naomi is like, oh no, Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
And Chad's freaking out. He's like, are you falling in love with that freak? And the answer is yes. And good for Dale. Fuck
Right.
yeah. Like, that's fantastic. Tucker and Dale end up coming back, and somebody, I think Allison, is like, let's just make some tea and work this out.
Right.
And Tucker ends up saying, yeah, that's a good idea. I'll provide the finger sandwiches.
Yeah, because he's missing his fingers.
Oh, God.
I like this part of Chad though too, because they're talking about tea and he says chamomile fucks with my asthma. You know?
Yep, very important. She says it's Earl Grey though.
Yeah. No, it's Earl Grey.
Yeah, and then Dale's like, "Oh man, I love Earl Grey. It's so nice." Like, he's a tea connoisseur.
I guess so.
Chad starts the talking here. He says before he was born, his parents were attacked by hillbillies in none other than the Memorial Day Massacre, right?
Ooh.
Spooky. Creepy. He says they captured his mother and his father had to watch while they tortured her. And he didn't know, is what Chad says. He didn't know that she was pregnant with me at the time, suggesting that she was already pregnant before this trip.
Right.
Keep that in mind. But the father is killed. The mother escapes, but it turns out, you know, by the time Chad was born, she was institutionalized anyway, because of the traumatic experience and all that. Chloe and Jason are outside, and Chloe's like, "Oh my God, I would totally love a cup of tea right now." And then it's Dale's turn to talk now, and he is being a genuine dude once again. And he's like, "Look, I am really sorry that your family got massacred." But
he cares, you know?
He does. But he was like, I was 6 years old at that time, and I can't even hurt a fish.
Right.
Tucker backs him up on that, and he's like, yeah, he fucking sucks at it. But Dale ends up feeling better after this. We don't really get confirmation on Tucker, unfortunately. He's probably still pissed because he's missing a couple fingers and got bee stings all over his
hell
face.
yeah.
But then Mike and Chloe come in fucking guns blazing, and Mike comes at Tucker with, it looks like a weed whacker, but specifically the weed whacker from Friday the 13th part ... 7 maybe.
It's got like a metal blade on it.
It's like a saw blade on the end.
It's like a hedge trimmer.
Yeah.
Like it's not made for...
Right.
It's made for like trees.
Yeah. But he runs at him with this fucking thing, and Tucker ends up ducking. And he fucking gets Naomi right in the face.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And Chad fucking takes the opportunity he fucking flips the table on top of Dale. All hell's breaking loose in this fucking cabin. And Mike, or no, it's not Mike, it's Jason. He's like, why didn't she duck? Oh God, why? Oh, I don't understand. Why didn't she duck? Like, this isn't my fault once again. Chad attacks Dale. Tucker ends up saving him, but Chad throws a lantern, and that fucking sets the cabin ablaze because of all the gas he dumped all over the place earlier.
Yeah, and it's one of the old oil lamps or something. You know what I mean? So there's like a flame in this lamp that he throws. You know?
Yeah, for sure. It's not like if it were a lamp or a lantern today, it would just be LED and everything's fine.
Right.
So the cabin is now on fire. Chloe fucking runs up and sees what looks, I guess, like water. And she throws it on the fire. Turns out it's fucking moonshine. Obviously it accelerates the shit out of the fire. Jason ends up catching on fire, and Tucker's like, he's crackling like a log.
He's like, oh, that stinks.
Well, that's what I was thinking about too. I don't think I mentioned it when we were talking about it, but when we did the Hostel episode, there's a part where we're talking about a dude who is chopping up body parts and throwing them into an incinerator.
Right.
That has got to smell fucking awful. Now, one could make an argument that it might smell good because it's meat cooking, right?
Oh, God.
But it's also fucking bone and sinew and hair. Have you ever smelled hair burn?
Yes.
Fuck.
Absolutely.
That ain't nothing to fuck with. So, there's a bunch of gas cans hanging out in the corner, and they are about to explode. And Chloe ends up smoking to calm down, which I think, for some reason, is considered like the spark. It's like the last straw on the camel's back,
right? Basically,
so like her starting this cigarette explodes the cabin essentially.
Yep.
Naomi does grab Chad's leg just before it does, though, so he is unable to completely get out of the cabin before it explodes.
Right.
Chad ends up getting up and running after them. They run out to the truck. And for a second, Allison is like, well, maybe we should hang out and help him. And, you know, he starts like screaming and coming after him. And she's like, man, I'll take it though. Let's just go.
He hits his inhaler and roars.
Yeah. Like he needed the extra oomph to get that out. Dale can't start the truck for a second though. But when he does, God damn it. I don't know why. This is yet another trope in movies, obviously, but someone happy that they have gotten away, and he's fucking driving at like, at this point, it's like 45 miles a fucking hour, it seems like.
Right.
And he's like staring out the back window as he's driving, not looking out front at all. So, of course, he fucking slams into something. Branches come fucking careening through the windshield.
Right.
They're fucking lucky nobody's face got impaled.
Yep.
Why aren't you like in this situation? We're talking about a human on two legs. You can drive 15,
right?
And he can't fucking catch up to you. You know?
Yeah, caught up in the moment, man.
I guess, dude. You want to get as far away from him as possible, but like, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too tough because, yeah, in the situation, maybe you're not going to have the wherewithal to, you know, have your wits completely about you. Sure, but at the very least, look where you're fucking going.
Tucker says something before they take off. Just be careful. It's the only thing I have left.
Right?
Cabin's gone, you know?
So much for that, yeah. He does mention earlier in the movie that he sank every penny he had into that cabin.
Right.
So here's the thing. Is it their vacation home or is it just their home?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So Dale is woken up by Janger's licking him, of course.
Aww.
Oh, he's a good boy. Tucker's sitting outside the truck, it turns out, and he tells him Chad took Allison.
Yep.
But he mentions it's going to be a long time before I take a vacation again.
Right. It's a bad experience.
Right. Dale's like, this is my fault. I never should have talked to Allison, which is where we get a nice little touching moment between Tucker and Dale, best friends.
The frog story.
Yep. Yep. We're talking about catching frogs when they were kids. And he was like, did he say he told him that he let him catch more?
Yeah.
Okay.
He told him that he was letting him win this little contest. They were collecting frogs. And,
Right.
Oh, I was just letting you win.
So, that's my point. Going back to that fucking inferiority complex that you were talking about Dale having, guess who gave it to him, motherfucker?
Right.
Good job.
All because of those damn frogs. So it turns out that Dale was just better at catching frogs than Tucker.
Yeah, luckily he comes clean. He's like, you were just quicker than me. And he goes, you're better than you think you are. That girl sees it. She sees you for who you really are.
You're not as ugly as you think you are.
Yeah, I don't want any more negativity. He's like, you're smart, you're sweet, and you're not as ugly as you think you are.
Yeah.
Like, can't you just give him a complete compliment one
Right.
of these fucking times? But he does mention you got to go after what you want, and she needs you now more than ever, especially because she's always falling down and knocking herself out. She can't take care of herself. Go
Right.
help her out, man. But yeah, they say something about like friends forever, and Dale squeezes Tucker's hand, and he's like, "Oh God!"
Yeah.
Just fucking missing fingers. It's like that hurt very much.
Yeah.
He goes like, "Do me a favor and kick that little college kid's ass or whatever." And I love Dale's response right here because he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna shove my boot down his fucking throat."
Right.
Like, yeah, there we go.
Hell yeah. So here we cut over to Chad tying up Allison. They're in the with
Lumber
the,
mill.
the sawmill, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Chad has lost it. He's
completely.
a psycho.
Oh yeah.
He's getting a little touchy-feely and weird with her, licking her face.
And not for the first time either. Not for nothing.
Right.
But yeah, Jangers ends up leading Dale to the lumber mill where Allison is because he's a good boy. But yeah, dude, at the lumber mill, Chad has Allison tied up like she's fucking Penelope Pitstop,
Right.
and fucking Dick Dastardly is around somewhere, or he is Dick Dastardly, I guess. But yeah, he mentions to Allison like, "You've gone hillbilly on me, Allison," and he kisses her. And he's not satisfied with the kiss. And he's like, "We're making up, Allie. You have to be more passionate than that." Which he, like I said before, he does have some really good lines. The specifically the delivery of the lines.
Right. For sure.
She said, she goes, "Chad, please." And he's like, "Oh, that's a start. And you're getting warmer." But then he licks her fucking face.
Right.
Quit being weird, dude.
Creepy guy.
Creepy. So yeah, he's good right here. He's pretty menacing, licks her fucking face. Dale ends up banging on the door trying to get in, and Chad also gives this like fucking demented smile
Right.
that I like a lot. That's really cool. But we go back to Dale, and he now has like a superhero fucking gear up montage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he's like, "You want a killer hillbilly? I'll show you one." And he fucking gears up. He's got a welding mask on. He fucking when he finally like comes into the sawmill, Allison sees him and she starts screaming because he
Yeah.
looks scary as shit.
He says, "Just me."
Yeah, it looks like something that belongs in the last movie we were talking about.
Right. Absolutely.
But he was like, "Oh, hey, it's just me. No, I wore this because I thought it might look intimidating."
Yeah. What are you wearing?
Yeah. He was like, "Does it look intimidating?" And she's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Sweet." And he's just kind of standing there for a minute, though. She's like, "Are you going to
Right.
maybe untie me?"
Well, and then the first thing, what kind of knot is this? He's a country boy.
Clearly not a Boy Scout. She goes, "Thank you for coming to get me." He was like, "Oh, I was headed over this way anyway."
Right.
But then Chad has found his way to like the, I don't know, foreman's office or whatever. And he gets over the PA and he's like, "You shouldn't have betrayed me, Allison." And he fucking turns on the saw that she's tied onto.
Right.
Fuck.
So now she is edging towards her death on her movable saw conveyor belt thing, you know?
Oh yeah. And Dale immediately runs up to try to get her off, but then Chad does this cool fucking swing kick off the ceiling. Oh my God, here comes Chad with the swing kick on Dale. Damn his soul. Damn him to hell. But after he kicks him over, Dale fucking gets him back right away because of another thing that we saw during his gear up montage. Let me try that again. He fucking puts his boot spike like through his shin, basically.
Yeah.
Fuck, that looks like it hurts.
Gross.
Good lord. But there is a super cool sideways hatchet throw that ends up setting Allison free. And when he throws it, he looks at his hand like, did I just do that?
Right.
He's so proud of himself.
Because those once in a lifetime things save the day, you know?
Big time. And so they start, you know, they're gearing up for the big fight, right? Dale says something about, oh, bring it, frat bitch. And then we get a fucking chainsaw fight.
Hell yeah.
Chad has like a pipe or something, right? Which is a cool choice because Dale has a chainsaw. So every time he swings the chainsaw at him, he holds up the pipe, and now we got sparks shooting all over the place.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, in this instance, Dale ends up getting away because he throws the chainsaw at Chad.
Hell yeah.
But he doesn't throw it in a way that's going to get him. He throws it in a way that just allows Chad to catch it.
Right.
And then him and Allison run away.
Now you got new issues.
Oh my God. So they go upstairs. They end up like closing like sort of it almost looks like a storm door because of the angle that it's at.
Right.
Or a storm cellar door. But they brace it with like this big ass like 8x8 or some shit. Almost looks like a railroad tie they shove into this fucking thing. And Dale mentions, oh God, that kid's tough as nails. He says they need to find a weapon, and he picks up a fucking plastic baseball bat that's hanging out there. Good Lord. Luckily, however, he ends up finding in this moment, of all things, a box of chamomile tea.
Man, and how... what are the odds?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
In a sawmill?
Yeah, we all remember.
Turns out the foreman loves him some fucking chamomile.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Which is he taking naps and shit? I guess he's just the foreman. Chad, of course, is allergic to... He says something about it fucking with his asthma. And, dude, Dale launches into this whole thing about... Like, he gives a scientific name for the active ingredient that causes, like, an anaphylactic shock sort of reaction.
Yeah, there's that weird stuff that he remembers.
Right, yeah. I remember everything I ever heard.
Right.
But it also reminded me of... You ever seen the Starsky and Hutch movie? Like,
No.
It's a revisit of the show. It's Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller, I think.
Right.
But there's a couple of other characters where it's Snoop Dogg is hanging out. His name is Huggy Bear. He's like a pimp or whatever. And he's got these two bodyguards that are like... They seem like they're just meat, you know? They're just muscle hanging around, whatever. But there are a couple of scenes where... It fucking like mirrors what Dale is doing here so well because somebody says something about a terrarium or whatever, and Snoop Dogg's like, what the fuck is a terrarium? And this other dude just pipes off with, a terrarium is an artificial ecosystem set up to mimic the habitat of the, whatever the fucking creature's used to. He just goes off for fucking ever about it, and it's so fucking funny. He does it a couple times in the movie. But I couldn't help thinking about that when I was seeing this. Dale's like, oh yeah, fucking blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Allison ends up finding an article in the newspaper at this place, and Dale says something about, oh man, he looks like that Kentucky Fried College kid.
Right.
Basically, what we're seeing is who the cops picked up after that Memorial Day massacre, and it looks just like fucking Chad.
Right.
So, yeah.
So weird.
That's what we're dealing with here. So, the Memorial Day killer survivor tortured and raped Chad's mom.
Right.
Turns out he is the product of a hillbilly.
Right. For sure.
But this is the point, because he caught the fucking chainsaw, right? Chad ends up cutting his way through the barrier with the chainsaw, and then they try to distract him with like, wait, look, you're a hillbilly too. And he's like, no fucking way. Allison's like, it's true, dude, you're half hillbilly. Which is where Dale comes in and throws chamomile in Chad's face. What's happening, man?
Hey.
Holy shit, look what the cat dragged into the studio. Oh, man. Oh, it turns out it worked. We told everybody that you had died.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're finishing up Tucker and Dale here, but
I can riff some stuff. I made it through this one. I had a whole page of notes.
Hell yeah, for sure. Hey, the resurrection worked, everybody. Nick's back.
What up?
It's the Nick Romancer. So yeah, Dale throws chamomile tea at Chad's face, and he ends up like fucking stumbling back, and Dale mentions like, oh, it'll be okay as long as we get him his inhaler, but then he falls out the fucking like wind door of the barn or what the fuck ever, and he's fucking dead.
Yep.
That's over, or it seems to us that he's dead.
Right.
And then Dale just closes the window.
Yeah, it's like
Fuck it, we're done.
It's like a hay entrance or whatever for loading hay into the top of the barn, right?
Something like that, yeah, for sure. So this, I think, is where we get the revisit of the opener, the news report.
Right, the video from the beginning.
Yeah. So Tucker's watching it on TV at the hospital because he's now, he's in bed. He's all fucked up on whatever they got him on. Turns out they fucking gave him fingers again. But Dale walks in with no hat for the first time, and he's wearing a bowling shirt, and his hair is very, styled and all that. And he walks up to Tucker. He's like, "Hey, buddy, how you feeling?" He's like, "I'm feeling high on prescription medications. How I'm feeling." And he's like, "They found my fingers." And one of these fingers has a fucking red nail on it.
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck that came from. But, I mean, it matches up size-wise.
One of the girls.
But here's I don't know whose it was, but my question is, do you keep the nail on? Is that going to grow again? I don't think it's going to grow anymore, right? Like, the nerve endings have severed. So, like, you have a finger again. The tendons may reconnect so that you can use it. But is that nail going to grow anymore?
I know you got no feeling. I wouldn't think so, but...
Because if not, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV.
I guess why wouldn't it if your skin's regrowing and stuff?
Suppose, yeah.
I think your nail would grow again.
Okay, well, that sucks, because I was like, you should just leave this nail on forever.
Just keep painting it red.
Just a reminder of the shit you've been through,
Right.
But it is one of his bowling fingers after all, so...
That's what he was worried about.
Right. He holds his hand up to Dale. He's like, "That look funny to you?" And Dale's like, "No, that looks great. It's perfect." And like the good friend he is, Dale brought Tucker a PBR and a straw.
Oh, hell yeah.
How cute.
What a nice guy.
And he says something about, did you ask her out? And he was like, "Well, no, I didn't get a chance to." And he's like, "God damn it, this is what I'm talking about, man. You need to start believing in yourself or whatever." He was like, "Well, yeah, I was going to, but then we got to talking about bowling, and she said something about being really good at bowling, so we're going bowling."
Right. Playing it off.
Mm-hmm. So we do cut to the bowling alley, and Dale is sitting there talking to somebody. This creepy fucking dude. It's probably just a regular at the bowling alley. Jason, you used to work at a bowling alley. Do you have any of these guys?
Yeah. They're all creepy. They're all creepy.
Yeah, for sure. He mentioned something about like, "Oh, that girl's got an amazing set of bowling fingers."
Right.
Dale ends up giving Allison a present. It's a fucking helmet because she keeps hitting her head.
Yeah.
And he's trying to relate to her in this moment because he doesn't know if he's going to get another chance, whatever. He's like, "I had a great time over this whole experience," which you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He was like, "Well, I mean, except for the people killing themselves and bleeding all over us and shit. That wasn't great. But I enjoyed every minute I got to spend with you." And then Allison kisses him.
Right.
Daw.
Happy ending. That's extremely unusual.
Dale's my on-screen spirit animal. But turns out right after this, the dude Dale was talking to just a minute ago just fucking knocks out a woman like a fucking caveman and drags her off because Dale just told him like, you got to go after what you want. Not fucking like that, man.
Right.
But he's like, whatever, I don't give a shit. I'm having the best moment of my life right here.
Hell yeah.
And then we do get there's a bluegrass version of a song that we that we heard earlier in the movie. That's really nice. It's a cool way to bring everything back around, and happy endings all around.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Fucking A, dude. This movie kind of fucking rules, man. As far as horror comedy goes, this is one of the best.
I think so too.
Absolutely.
Just not enough attention for it. Hopefully some people will get to watch. from us covering this,
Yeah, which I hope we help by doing this. I mean, we only, at the moment, we're getting like 100 downloads a month.
Right.
It's fucking pathetic. It's nothing. But hopefully it will at least show someone the genius of this movie.
Right.
Fuck, I love it. Nick, you're back there without a mic at the moment, but you want to chime in on this one anyway?
Yeah, where should I? I'll bump
Just
into
just lean
Jason's-
in there, yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Just lean in.
lean in real quick. I get a quick. I don't need the summary, but I had a blast with this movie. I was a Tucker and Dale virgin and turned it on one night with the wife. She enjoyed it, I enjoyed it, and we both died laughing the whole way through. So, really bummed that I couldn't be here to talk about this one more with you guys, but excited to be back in the studio.
I'm glad you came in when you did, man. Hell yeah.
For sure.
Glad to be at the end of this one, but hopefully no more dying. I don't need the guys to have to resurrect me again. That sucked.
Yeah, that was one and done. The next one's going to cost you.
Yeah, well, we just might have to pull the Book of the Dead out,
Yeah. I have one on my fridge. I don't know if you noticed it.
I didn't see that.
This movie has a great fucking tone the whole way through. It's so well written. Every single scene is just so well done between the kid's perspective and Tucker and Dale's perspective, and showing how it's believable on both sides.
That's hilarious.
That everyone's reacting the way that they are.
Yeah.
A couple of times it goes a little over the top. It goes, they make some decisions you wouldn't think that they might.
There's some gnarly kills in this.
There's absolutely some gnarly
I
kills
love
in
it.
this. Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, yeah, the effects are fantastic. The juxtaposition of the circumstances are fucking hilarious, and so are the comedic lines themselves. Particularly with Tucker and Dale, obviously. And this very well might be my favorite horror comedy.
It's definitely up there. 4 out of 5 for me, for sure.
Yeah? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Necromancer, what about you?
I'd put it up there for sure. I mean, as horror comedies go, this would probably go in the top 5 easy. I mean, like I said, when we put this on, I laughed from beginning to end.
I mean, name 5 horror comedies that you love right now.
Shaun of the Dead. That's probably number 1.
Sure.
So we got this one, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I would say.
See, look at that. You can't even do it.
I can't. But
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods. You could,
Right.
Yep, argue that.
Some of the Evil Dead ones are horror comedy.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, you could kind of throw Evil Dead in there.
Sure.
Werewolves Within is a cool one. That one's a smaller indie werewolf movie that came out a few years ago.
But I feel like there are a lot more movies that are horror with comedic elements rather than straight up horror comedies.
Oh yeah,
This is the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I've loved this movie for 10 plus years. I mean, it's so great. I gave it 8 out of 10 chainsawed bees nests. And my recommendation is fucking buy it. This movie rules. Show it to all your friends. Let's get the fucking hype train up for a 14-year-old movie.
Yeah, hey man, we rented this when we watched it, and I immediately went online and bought it because I was like, this is one I have to have in the
Hell
collection.
yeah, man. It's something that I can watch fairly regularly and not get tired of.
Absolutely.
Like, I just appreciate everything from start to finish on this fucking thing. So, any final thoughts you guys got to throw out there?
My face is hotter than a hemorrhoid.
I got nothing, guys. I kind of just jumped in here.
No,
so.
yeah, perfectly fine, man. That's going to wrap it up for us then. We had a great time. Hope you did too, as always. If you would like to get a hold of us, you can do so at cinebytespod.gmail.com. You can follow our socials at CinebytesPod on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. I believe we're also just CinebytesPod, right?
Yep.
And then, of course, we have our Buzzsprout website, hosted by Buzzsprout, and if you care to donate to the show or support in any financial way, if you can, obviously it's not a big deal, but you can do so by visiting cinebytespod.buzzsprout.com. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side, man. Had a good time. As always, of course, remember, dreams are fleeting. Only nightmares last forever. Follow your nightmares.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
I bid you welcome.